All right, everyone. So you're diving deep into crypto these days, huh? Well, get this. Some big news just dropped straight out of China. And even if economics isn't really your thing, trust me, this is going to be good. We're going to connect the dots between China's latest move, what's going on with Bitcoin, and yeah, even talk about a potential Trump comeback. Believe it or not, it's all kind of related.
It's true. It's all connected.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it. China. Everyone's buzzing about it. They might be about to issue a huge amount of bonds, and we're talking trillions here, like
Yeah.
6 trillion yuan.
Right. About $1 trillion US.
Great.
Right.
Exactly, $1 trillion. Now, I know what you're thinking, bonds. That's about as exciting as watching grass grow, right?
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Hold on, because this is where it gets interesting. Imagine a government just printing $1 trillion.
Yeah. It's not quite that simple.
Okay, true, not exactly, but you get the picture. It's a huge cash injection. What they're doing is essentially borrowing a ridiculous sum of money and promising, of course, to pay it back later with a little interest on top.
Right. And the thing is, this isn't just some internal Chinese affair.
Right.
What they do has ripple effects. We're talking about the entire global financial system here.
Okay, yeah, I can already see some people in the chat are like, whoa, slow down, explain it to me like on 5. So how does China doing this affect anything outside of China?
All right, so picture this. All that money China is pumping into the system, right? Where does it go? It has to go somewhere.
Right, it doesn't just vanish.
Exactly. It's like pouring a gallon of water into a bathtub. The water level rises everywhere, not just where you poured it in, right?
Makes sense.
So that's what we call liquidity. More money sloshing around, which impacts things like global interest rates. It even affects how much money is available for people to invest.
So you're saying this impacts Bitcoin,
Absolutely. Even your favorite, Bitcoin.
which, speaking of, remember that recent Bitcoin surge? Everyone was glued to their screens checking their crypto wallets.
Oh, yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, there's a good chance that China's move was a factor. See, increased liquidity often leads to a surge in asset prices across the board. And Bitcoin, while Bitcoin is known to be a bit volatile, it tends to react very enthusiastically to this kind of liquidity party.
It's like Bitcoin's version of a Friday night, huh? And speaking of which, we've got something to help visualize all of this. If you head over to our website, you can check out the Bitcoin layer chart. This basically shows the relationship between global banking liquidity and Bitcoin's price.
It even tracks the stock market, and you can really see how they all tend to move together.
It's pretty fascinating. You can really see the correlation.
Yeah, and speaking of Bitcoin's price, you know it recently broke through that critical level.
You mean the $66,500 mark?
That's the one. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the lingo, this is what we traders call a resistance level.
So like a ceiling Bitcoin keeps hitting its head on, can't quite break through.
Exactly. Imagine a room full of people all trying to push a heavy object over a wall. Once they break through that wall, it becomes much easier to move it further. That's kind of what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now.
Interesting.
It broke through that resistance, signaling that we might see even more gains down the line.
So Bitcoin could go even higher.
Some even believe we could be headed for new all-time highs. But we'll have to wait and see.
New all-time highs, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to add another layer to this. Remember that Trump connection we mentioned earlier?
And yeah, the wild card in all this.
So prediction markets, and for those who don't know, these are platforms where people can bet on future events, which gives us a sense of what might happen down the line.
Yeah.
Well, they're showing that the odds of a Trump comeback are increasing.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure. So let's break this down a bit. How does a potential Trump presidency tie into everything we've been talking about?
So, from a purely economic standpoint, and to be clear, we're not here to endorse any particular political views, just looking at the facts, a Trump win could have some interesting consequences.
Okay, I'm listening.
A Trump administration could mean a return to bigger government deficits.
Meaning what exactly?
More borrowing, more government spending, which could lead to
More inflation.
bingo. But, and here's the interesting part, Bitcoin tends to perform well when inflation is on the rise. Many see it as a hedge against a weakening dollar.
So it's like Bitcoin is the unpredictable friend who somehow thrives in chaos.
You could say that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got China, we've got Bitcoin potentially going through the roof, we've got the Trump factor. Anything else we're missing?
Oh, we're not done yet. There's one more twist in this story.
Bring it on.
Remember Robert Lighthizer?
Now, straight guy.
The one and only. Former U.S. Trade Representative. He was named for his tough stance with China on tariffs. Well, There's talk of him coming back for a major role if Trump is reelected.
Wait, really?
Yeah, maybe even as Treasury Secretary.
Wow, okay. And why is this a big deal?
Well, think about it. Ligthizer's return could potentially mean a resurgence of trade wars and tariffs.
Oh, right. I remember those days.
It adds another layer of complexity to the whole global economic situation. And remember that Bitcoin layer chart we mentioned earlier?
The one showing how everything's connected.
That's the one. Trade tensions create uncertainty, and uncertainty often leads to lower liquidity. And guess what's affected by liquidity?
You're going to tell me it's Bitcoin.
You got it. It's all connected.
Wow, this is a lot to unpack. So for those of us who aren't financial experts, what's the main takeaway from all of this?
It boils down to this. What happens on the global stage, even something that seems far removed from our daily lives, like China issuing bonds or the outcome of a U.S. election, can have a very real impact on all of us.
It really goes to show it's all connected.
Absolutely.
And for all you crypto enthusiasts out there, here's something to consider. Keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the wider world. Pay attention to geopolitics, global economics, the whole shebang. Because sometimes those seemingly unrelated events, well, they might just hold the key to understanding where Bitcoin and, frankly, the whole world is headed next.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this little food for thought. What if someday Bitcoin isn't just reacting to these global events, but actually starts influencing them? That's something to ponder. Until next time.